Welcome back. This is election 2015 and we have 5 days to the commencement of our presidential election. The clock is ticking. I have Boyega Akoshile in the studio. Boyega, it's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. Thank you very much for having me. We've been monitoring, we've been seeing the trend, and it's good to be back.
There's going to be a big issue on Saturday.
It's definitely a big issue. You agree with me that it's an election that not only Nigerians are looking forward to, the entire world is watching Nigeria, and they're expecting to see if INEC will deliver on this one. And
we in the newsroom of TV Continental, we're also counting down to Babajide's birthday, which coincidentally with the presidential election in Nigeria. So we're counting down 5 days to presidential election.
Yes, the only problem is that I'm going to be so busy that day that I won't be able to
Are you going to pick your calls for a happy birthday?
Celebrate my birthday. We'll be so busy.
In the situation
TVC
room, the war room.
TVC has sent reporters to 30 different states in Nigeria, and it's a very, very difficult job for us. They're bringing news to our wonderful viewers. So it's going to be an extremely busy day for me. It's going to pass as one of those days when I didn't really have time to celebrate my birthday. But as I've always said, it is my wish that that day, March 28th, will go down in the annals of Nigeria, just like June 12th. But mine will be for something positive. Whenever we remember June 12th, our hearts are usually not filled with joy. But for March 28th, it is my wish that that day, the Nigerians will smile.
This man is becoming prophetic now.
No, and we'll pray that Nigerians will smile, and we'll pray it's going to be violence-free, and this thing will go free and fair, and whoever wins, whoever emerges the president, Nigeria should just stay one country, and 28 should be significant in the timetable of the country. Now, up to the updates, while you are getting 56.6 million permanent voter cards were collected out of 68.8 million. They told me, INEC is telling us that they recorded up to 60% in most of those states, but the lowest state, the turnout, is Ogun State. That is, Ogun State recorded 49.45. They couldn't make 50%. That means, Jide, effectively, half of the people in Ogun State will be disenfranchised. Yes. Because INEC is saying no going back. The exercise ended yesterday.
It's so sad. We saw this coming, and we tried our best to get INEC to do the needful. There's no way anybody can convince me that the people of Ogun State are to blame for this. As much as some of our people want to blame people for this problem, we know that it is not really the fault of Ogun people. It's unusual. That figure is unusual. When you have a state like Jigawa recording 96%, there's no way you want me to believe that the people of Ogun State are not interested.
Gombe and Zafar recorded the highest. They recorded 95%. Almost a clean house. 95%.
Jigawa has recorded 96%. Even as at last week, 96%. So I've been monitoring Jigawa, 96%.
Jigawa, 96%?
Yes,
okay.
Because it recorded 95.9. So 95.9 is effectively 96%.
Yes.
So you can't, it's so high up there. But our people in Ogun State have suffered a great deal. If you've seen some of the stories that we've been carrying, you'll see these people saying, look, we want to be part of this election. We want to be part of this election, but
the level of enthusiasm is so high.
The all-important voter cards have not been brought to them. So it's unfortunate that the voter turnout is going to be very low in Ogun State, which is traceable to the problem that they've had. They've had a situation whereby INEC brought cards not meant for them to the state. So you brought 660-something thousand cards not meant for them. And naturally, what are they going to do with cars that are not meant for them? So this is why this problem is particularly bad in this state. And someone told me sometime last week, some of the people who like to praise INEC for everything, told me that, look, INEC has achieved 59%. But we've seen now, based on INEC's figures, that it couldn't even reach 50%.
That's
it's a state like Ondo, they successfully distributed, so within this period, they've really gone far. Even in Delta State, they used the opportunity of the
6 weeks
extension to get more people to pick up cards.
Oba, what we are looking at here is that INEC is saying there's no plan to extend the PVC collection. We can't collect PVC forever before the election. Election is Saturday, 5 days to the election. So I'm not even expecting any extension.
I was on the field yesterday. I went to the Lagos Island to monitor the deadline of the PVC collection. And I met with one high-ranking INEC person there, and she was telling me that there's no way the collection exercise could end yesterday because they still have with them thousands of PVC uncollected, and there are several people who even come from afar because I think there are about 1 or 2 distribution centers for the entire island. And yesterday they were trying to relocate local government premises, that's Lagos local government premises, to another place. Yesterday, I met some voters yesterday. They wanted to pick their cards, but they could not pick. So, bringing an end to it yesterday, I'm very sure that in that place, they will still be giving some people voters' card today.
For today.
Although officially, they told us that it will end yesterday. But I see a situation where, you know, we are in Nigeria. We like this 11th hour culture, rushing for things that we were unable to do in 6 years. We want to do it within 6 weeks. That's our culture in Nigeria. So I see people still trying to pick their voters card. But then I think we've been like our prophet on this program, because I can remember very well that this issue of Ogun State has been top on our priority on this program, and we have discussed it time without number. At some point, it was as if we were trying to.
There's a personal interest
to blow it out of proportion. But now INEC has come out to vindicate that the E15 team. In fact, we are doing a great job on this job. I don't want to praise ourselves.
Out of 1.7 million registered voters in Ogun State,
it's sad.
Effectively less than 800,000
It's sad.
people.
By no fault of theirs, they are not going to participate in
becomes...
this Saturday's election. It's not good at all. I'm trying to put myself in their shoes, and having gone there to back time without number, back to back, trying to pick my PVC, and yet I still don't have my PVC. It's sad.
But let's still play with figures here. 81% of the collection INEC claimed to have achieved. That is 56.3 million people out of 68.8 million people. 81%.
Well, I think 81% for me, it's a good number. You know, when you look at whether someone has passed or someone has failed, with 81%, you know what it means. It's a first class, anytime, any day, by performance rating, whether in school or on the job, you know, assessment. But for the purpose of election, democracy is a game of numbers. Exactly, democracy is a game of numbers. I was telling someone,
more the merrier.
Yeah, I was telling someone earlier that, you know, the person did not collect her PVC where I went to cut my hair, and I was like, why didn't you collect your PVC? And she said, I'm always busy, and they told me that it ended yesterday. That we end yesterday. I said, but madam, they gave us time. You know, all this while that should have gone. You would have gone to the center to pick, and where she was regretting not going to pick up PVC, because, in fact, unfortunately, she didn't even know that she couldn't vote with the TVC. She brought out her TVC. She said she was speaking Yoruba with me. She said, you know. And I said, madam, where have you been? You can't use this one. So I know there will be a whole lot of people like that. So, and for the politicians, that one vote of that woman, if the woman is sympathetic towards your party, that one vote is a lot. And you can imagine not one person, not two, you're talking about 800,000 voters. Do you know what 800,000 votes would do for a presidential candidate, you know, give plus
Even
minus.
for a keenly contested governorship election,
800,000 votes.
Gladiators that are running neck to neck.
So I think, you know, it's a failure on the part of the electoral umpire. It's a failure, you know, of the system, you know, especially, you know, INEC. I really feel bad. I feel bad. You know, democracy is a game of numbers, and that's what I keep saying. And this election will be a true test of democratic experience in Nigeria. Nigeria has never had an election as keenly contested as this one. Even the ones that we read in history books, you know, the 1964, the 19, all
the
these
level of participation,
the level of political awareness, the numerical strength. This is the first time that we have truly two national parties that cut across religious, ethnic, you know, social creed, you know, anything. The first time, you know, almost tending towards the
SDP,
1993
days.
tending almost, not even exactly, almost tending towards the 1993 election.
Is that you are to the left or you are to the right?
But this one is like, this is the first time, you know, well, one party has, you know, been using, well, allegedly using religion, and the other party did their own calculation, they countered it. This other party couldn't use religion anymore. They had to devise to another means. So this election cuts across religious lines. It cuts across ethnic. It cuts across, you know, parochial or primordial sentiment. So this is the time where we're having real election in Nigeria.
Jide, you just saw a kind of education on the part of INEC before we started the program for 56.3 million. I'm sure that's the first time I'm seeing that message. 5 days to the election. Have we done enough voter education?
Just like the woman.
Definitely not. Even on this program, when the matter of the card reader, you know, was brought to the fore, we did warn that if anybody has an oily thumb, that it may not, that the card reader may not be able to read your thumbprint. And after INEC carried out the simulation, that was the problem that people were talking about.
Exactly. In 12 states.
Yeah. Yes, they were talking about that. Look, that many of them had their PVCs, their pictures on the PVCs, but the card readers couldn't read their thumbprints because they had oily thumbs. You know, maybe use petroleum jelly or even a moisturizer.
This thing,
mentholated spirit.
No,
Even clean it. That one can clean.
The cleanser.
Okay.
Yeah, either cleanser or this one that, you know.
Okay, if you want to use,
I was at an APC rally and
sanitizer.
Sanitizer.
Yeah,
If you use sanitizer, if you use sanitizer to wash your hand, it won't read.
I remember Asiwaju Tinubu was telling them that they should go with small bottle of spirit to clean their thumb anytime they are confronting such issues. I don't know if that was
so basically this is what INEC ought to be doing.
Yes.
INEC is not doing this. We complain about the fact that INEC has not done enough voter education. You know, voter education is the first thing that you need to do ahead of massive social mobilization for an election of this magnitude. We've not really seen enough of this. Naturally, as a TV station, we would love to carry a lot of these messages across to the people, you know, because the people need to know how to conduct themselves.
Because that's your interest as a journalist.
Yes,
that's my interest as a journalist.
How to conduct themselves.
I think today is the first time we see it on this platform. That video.
That's what I'm telling you. That
we should have been running this for months.
Yes. Why is it coming 5 days to the election?
But Ayo, why are you talking like you don't know the way we do things in Nigeria? As I speak to you, some of the PVCs have not even been printed. Because the last time INEC made an announcement about PVC
in China,
they said they still had 700,000 to print. That was a little over a week ago. So if you had about 700,000 to print a little over a week ago, roll your mind back to when Jega met the senators, and he said 1 million PVCs were yet to be printed. You know, so
that means
after that, despite all the delay,
6 weeks away.
That's why the postponement. That means they were able to achieve 300,000. I remember that the resident electoral commissioner in Kano State, even though Kano has a fairly collection rate, he said some cars meant for Kano had not even been brought to Kano. Some of them are still in Abuja. And don't forget, out of 400,000 cars that the people of Ogun State were waiting for, only 192,000 were brought in from Abuja. So some of them could either be part of those ones
in China
that have not been printed, or they could have been taken to some
other
state.
alien
You know? So that's why
Those
we have this problem.
that they were not able to get their PVC.
Yes.
Today, I think let's take this package from Ondo State correspondent Ayodeji Muradeyo to enlighten us more about the collection rate of the permanent voter cards.